Berlin enthusiast. Welcome to the GMB013 podcast. This is where I go out and chat to Berlin's coolest creators, founders and free spirits of all those unique eco-minded projects in the capital. I do my very best to extract their stories, secrets and passions to help you get lots and lots of inspiration of what you can do and experience in this magical city and how we can all shake the world a little bit. Super glad to have you with me on this journey. Now let's go green in this urban jungle. And remember, always be prepared to be amazed. Hey everyone, how's it going? The episode I've got for you today is a tiny little bit different. No worries, it's still an inspiring interview with a really cool changemaker from the Berlin green scene, but it's actually one of my really first interviews, which I did even before the official launch of GMB013 last August. Speaking of that, GMB013 just celebrated its first birthday this Tuesday. Man, it's unbelievable. And you know what? I didn't even realize until it popped up in my Facebook feed. You know, when you get those pictures and memories like from 1, 2, 5, 8 years ago? I'm pretty sure gonna put on a little birthday party end of next month, and I'd love to see you and connect with you there. So if you want to join and if you want to stay updated, just hop on over to the GMB013 Facebook page or subscribe to my newsletter if you haven't done yet at gmb013.com/newsletter. Back to the podcast. I don't know if you ever realized, but if you scroll through the list of episodes here on iTunes, there is one number missing. Some of you already asked me for it. Exactly, there is no number 4. So where's this mysterious episode number 4? The answer is simple, and I'll keep it short. I was first just running the podcast on SoundCloud and on the GMB013 website, and when I launched it on iTunes around Christmas last year, I simply didn't have enough server space for a podcast yet. Beginner setup. Yep. We all learn and grow, and so did the GMB013 podcast web host space. And I'm so pumped to finally give you that missing piece, as it's a really rocking interview with Benedikt from Standert Bicycles Berlin. I now let you tune into this super fun, honest and inspiring interview. Now I gotta say, I had to love a bit about myself, you know, after 1 year podcasting, it's just so hilarious to listen to one of your first recordings. Anyway, without any further ado, have fun! Hey guys, in today's episode, I have a super badass guest. I stopped by at Standert Bicycles in Mitte to sit down with Benedikt, who's a very essential part of the Standert team, a total road bike and fixed gear devotee, and a real Berliner. How about that? Since they started out in 2012, Standert Bicycles have created an awesome Berlin brand all around bicycles they want to ride themselves. And I'm the happiest person in town today to visit these guys for you. You know, bicycles are such an essential part of my life, of Berlin life. I could not imagine to live in this city without my bike. For me, it stands for freedom and independence, and actually I often have my best ideas while riding a bike. Plus, it fits perfectly into the whole eco and health-conscious mindset of many Berliners, and it just makes you explore the city in a whole different way. Talking to Benedikt, I try to unpack the details of how Standert Bicycles turned into a hub for the Berlin cycling scene. We chat about what they do to grow a community and get people excited about sharing a ride. You also learn why it is important to build and sell only the things you love, and what we need to do to help building a friendly and peaceful coexistence of cars and cyclists on the roads of this amazing city. Bam! I really hope you're fully enjoying this episode, and now I'm gonna stop bubbling and get you into the show. Hey Benedikt, million thanks for taking your time. I know you guys are super busy, so I'm really grateful that I could grab just a little bit of your time for a little chat. I'm a super passionate cyclist myself. I love my bike in Berlin, but also everywhere I go. It just really makes my life better in so many ways. So being able to do an interview in a place where I'm surrounded by the most beautiful two-wheelers, hanging on those cool brick walls, and talking to someone who's even more passionate about bicycles and definitely more knowledgeable than me, I'm feeling super privileged right now. Right.
Welcome.
Right. So yeah, with Standert Bicycles, you've created so much more than just a bicycle shop or a manufacturer. You know, you're doing a lot to promote this as a holistic lifestyle and are also pretty active, I think, in pushing things forward in the Berlin cycling scene. So I can't wait to extract lots of interesting stories of you and dream a bit about the future and so on. Right. Okay, so to kick things off, I always like to set the people out there a bit into the scene. So just in a few words or sentences, what is Standert Bicycles for you? How do you want the listeners to imagine this place?
Well, first of all, Standert Bicycles is a bicycle brand. Pretty easy as that. We developed it since a couple of years now. Additionally to it, we have the well-known showroom here in Berlin Mitte, which is a showroom, shop, workshop and cafe in all in one. And so at the same time, it's the hub for the cycling scene here in Berlin. A lot of messengers are hanging out here, spending their standby time. We have 2 weekly shop rides, training rides for road cyclists. We host every now and then some events, some parties, some launch parties for our bikes, or just different events. Like during the Fahrrad show, we have some parties here.
Wow.
Of course, we have our workshop. We now mainly focus on working on our own bikes, because that takes some time building them for our customers, and so we don't do as much as repairs as we did before. But still, of course, for all our customers, and if there's time, we can do some repairs for other people as well. But so we have the cafe with really good coffee. We have the shop, the showroom. We screen cycling races on our TV all the time. And we have the workshop.
There's one running there right now, so it's really cool.
And in the basement there's the office where Max and I are sitting and doing all the brain work.
Hidden in the basement to do the creative stuff. That's wow. I mean, this is so much. Yeah, there's so much to it, so much more than just like this simple, okay, we sell bicycles. Now, I'd be super curious to hear how the story of Standert Bicycles started. Like, how did it all happen? What was the purpose as a team to create a place like this?
Actually, Max studied industrial design here in Berlin, and while doing so, he wrote as a cycling messenger for some time, and combining his studies and his hobby, which was cycling all the time. He was really much into mountain biking back then too. He designed his first frame he wanted to ride, so it was kind of a need he wanted to fill, because he was looking for this classic looking but modern frame he wasn't getting, or it would be super expensive.
Yeah.
So he designed his own first frame, and then people asked him where to get it. And then the idea grew to look for a space to sell the frame, and at the same time Anna and his now wife Anna had the idea of popsicles, ice cream, completely organic, and they made them themselves. So they combined it to a space where they can have some kind of ice cream sales and bicycle sales and everything. And so, why not having a bike shop with a cafe selling ice cream and
Oh my god, I didn't know about the ice cream. Why you never tell me?
Yeah, we're not doing that anymore. We have other ice cream now, but it was a lot of work. We did it in our basement with big machines and everything, so it was a lot of work, and we just, with the time, we just started focusing on the bikes more than on the ice cream, and it was too much work.
But I think it's great that you still have the cafe in here, because it makes it so special.
Sure, back then we also there was much more kind of a cafe restaurant flair to it, because we had more seats, we had soup and stuff, and that was just too much going on here in the front. We had to have like 3 employees just for the cafe, so that's not really working.
I see, yeah, but I think it works really well the way it is now. And I mean, why did you choose the name Standert? Like, what does it stand for? Is there like a certain reason?
Well, actually, Standard, as we write it with ERT at the end, it's a Berlin slang, because there was a time when really cool things that are obvious were Standard. Like when you ask a friend, "Are you coming to the party tonight?" he would say Standard. So and on the other side, it's what we wanted our bikes to be, like kind of a new standard of city bikes, commuters, fixed gears, like with a classic look but a modern appeal to it. So we wanted to create a new standard, and so the word Standard has another meaning in the Berlin slang, so it was quite fitting.
This is so cool. I really didn't know that. I mean, are you guys from Berlin?
Yeah, actually, we're one of the few Berliners here in Berlin.
Yeah, I see that. Oh, that's cool though. Right. Now I kind of want to extract a few things about what makes this place so special, apart from all the things we already said. But yeah, I think on your website, I'm not sure where I read it, but I think on your website or somewhere it says something like, we're building the bikes that we want to ride ourselves. So what kind of bikes are that? What does that mean, like that you want to ride it yourself? What's important for you?
Essentially, I think that's kind of what makes Standard. It's we're not doing it for anybody else, kind of. So we don't have some huge company or investors or anything telling us what we have to do. So we choose what we want to do. So we have a good point of promoting them because we love them. And that's what is meant with we design the bikes we want to ride ourselves. So it's the thing we would do with the city bikes. We wanted a bike with a clean look, with internal cable routing for more clean lines, but we wanted it still to be light. We wanted to be still stiff and be good performing in the city as well. And that's why we designed Herr Standard. Now the newest edition that's coming in a couple weeks, actually, the Kreissäge. It's a Criterium racing road bike, and it's actually what we wanted. We live in flat Berlin, so we wanted a really fast bike. We only need one chainring in the front. We don't really need the small chainring here, and so we designed a specific Criterium racing road bike.
For Berlin.
For actually everywhere where it's mostly flat, or if you have hilly regions, you can just put on a different chainring and you can ride it in the hills as well. So. But last year we had the idea that we wanted to have a cross bike, so we designed a cross bike, and that's going to be available actually this cross season. So it's a process and makes it for us much better to really feel the product we're doing. So it's
you don't sell any shit like it just because everyone else is doing it.
We're not selling for the purpose of selling.
Wow. Okay.
Of course we have to sell,
of course, but
still, we want it because we love these bikes, and we think others will do too, and they do, and we kind of hitting a sweet spot of the people out there with our designs and everything. So turned out to be the right tactics strategy to pursue.
You guys. That's awesome. That really resonates with me. Like, do what you love and do it with lots of passion, and then it'll work.
Yeah, sure.
That's awesome. And personally, what's your favorite bike from all of them?
It's hard to say. It's every single one for the purpose. So in the city, of course, it's when I'm commuting or going to a beer garden or to a lake or whatever. It's Herr Standard, of course. It's what I'm riding in the city all the time. On the road, it's the Triebwerk, and on the track it's Umlaufbahn. So pretty easy. We got one for the one to do every job, and that's actually what we do.
Yeah, I always say like the trend is going to the second bike, not to the second car. It's going to the second bike.
Yeah, sure.
Or the third.
There's a rule. There's the best amount, the right amount of bikes to own is n+1, and n is the current number of bikes you own. So there's always the next bike.
I love that. That's really cool. Right. And apart from building beautiful bikes, you're doing heaps of other things. You already tapped like quickly into it, like for example, running some cool events for all the racers and all the bike enthusiasts, and training rides like twice a week, right?
Yes.
What's the deal behind those training rides? Like, who could join, or how can they join, or what levels of fitness do you need?
That's actually quite funny story, because we started it some years ago as kind of a weekly alley cat, like the courier races where you have checkpoints and you just smash through the city on your fixed gears. But as that was getting a little bit sketchy, we developed more from the alley cat races to the serious road cyclists. We thought to give it another try and move from Wednesday to Thursday and do a Feierabendrunde, as we call it, so after work ride. The cycling community here in Berlin adapted it pretty fast, and so we now have our ride on Thursday, always starting at 7 p.m. And that's a pretty fast ride, so we go out of the city and then kind of go pretty fast, around 40 km/h average outside of the city.
Okay, I'm out of that.
And then return back to Berlin, and that's about around 60 kilometers always.
After work.
And after work, and then we end up here at the shop again and have some beers and
cool.
Just talk about bikes and stuff.
Yeah.
Who can join? Obviously pretty fit cyclists. Cyclists experience to ride in a group, in a fast-moving bunch.
Yeah.
So for everybody not as fit as that, I can recommend our Saturday ride. It's a little bit longer, but also a little bit not too relaxed, but slightly relaxeder than the one on Thursday.
What would be the speed?
We always have kind of like 31, 32 average.
Okay.
So going with the group, that's doable for most of the people. And we always communicate the routes first, so everybody knows where maybe they can make a shortcut, or they can just go home or go back, or whatever. So we have these rides on Thursday and Saturday.
Awesome. That's really, really, really cool. I feel that you're super engaged about building a community, like bringing together like-minded people who share the same passion and who share the thing that they love most. So I guess that's what's resonating with me and the values of GMB Berlin so much. Like, do what you love, enjoy yourself, share like happy moments with others, and that way you can really change things and encourage others to follow. Is that about right? Like, would you agree on that?
Yeah, I think so. It's like building a community is just really important, I guess, because there's a lot of, like in our case with the cyclists, there's a lot of people kind of enjoying cycling, but they're doing it all alone all the time. And it's not as enjoyable as with a group where you have like you can push each other, you can just get advices from others, give others advices. You can just you can develop in your cycling and everything. So it's pretty important for those just to get out of their like solo routine and get into a group. And we really feel like that's working quite well with our group rides. And you see people joining in and then coming every week again because they just love it to break out their routine with going the same route every week or every day, but alone. Yeah. So they really enjoy it, do it with the company.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I think I'm sure it would also like encourage more people. I mean, of course it's already cyclists who come, but then I don't know, like building a community like this, I would probably say that it even draws more people.
Yeah, sure.
It gets more awareness if there's a group out there of cyclists and more cyclists in the city. And
sure, people see that groups, like big groups, like sometimes in the summer we are like 25 to 30 people rolling out here. People see, oh, that looks like fun.
Yeah.
I want to try it. Like the same thing with all these social jogging groups running through the city. It's the same thing. People see, oh, yeah, I kind of like jogging, but maybe in a group it's even more fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
yeah.
for me, but
okay, you stick to the bike.
But yeah, it's the same thing, and especially to people buying bikes at our place, it's kind of the best way to right away engage them with cycling is to not kind of let them on their own and give them a bike and say, okay, like, here you go, good luck. So they're pretty happy about the opportunity kind of to stay in touch with the people building the bikes and getting advices, maybe some tips on the position on the bike and everything. So
these are such interesting, like it's such a great approach to do it, I think. And I mean, why do you think, or why would you say that places or concepts like you're going for with Standert, like not just being the place to sell, but being like a holistic thing and like the community and everything, why would you say that things like this fit so well in Berlin at the moment?
I think Berlin is one big melting pot of different communities. I guess it's not the solo man city, I would say. Mm-hmm. Of course you got those too, but I think people coming to Berlin are really looking for something they're missing in other cities, and that's like-minded people maybe being as crazy or being as creative or being as stubborn as other people, so they can relate to that. And no matter if it's like if you want to go partying, if you're a creative and an architect or anything, you have like always find a community in Berlin for that purpose.
Oh, definitely. Yes.
And it's no difference with people doing sports. So I don't see why there should be kind of. I wouldn't go to a place, especially with something like a bicycle, or just go there, buy it, and leave and never see them again. So it's. I think it comes naturally with it because it's, as a lot of people don't know that, but cycling is a true team sport. So that's doing it alone does the job sometimes when you're training, but gets boring.
Yeah, I mean sometimes when I'm cycling just with my bike, not for training purposes, I'm not a racer, but when I'm cycling through the city, and it just, I don't know, it just opens my eyes to so many things, and it really lets me think about things. But then I also really like to do it with others.
Share it.
Yeah, you want to share moments.
Doing beautiful stuff is good, but doing it with others is even better.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean if you have like big rides like the Critical Mass or something like this, that's just awesome. Like being in lots of groups of people, and you really see like all the cyclists of Berlin all together.
Yeah, sure. Especially for a thing like cycling, where there's kind of the differences between motorists and cyclists, and people not really confident to get on their bikes in the city, and so if they see that it's super normal to other people, so they so if that woman goes out cycling and does it every day, I can do it too. I can get my groceries or whatever. I can go to work. Yeah. That guy there is going cycling every day. I can do it too. So
exactly,
just kind of leading for example. And in our groups, we also kind of educate the cyclists how to behave. So they're in our group rides. There's no way anybody is going to cross red lights or anything like that, because that's not the way it should be.
Yes.
So I have to be the cyclist that I want to have as a motorist. So if I'm driving a car, I can feel why motorists are mad at cyclists when they're always crossing red lights and they're just popping up on the street without any signs and everything. So that's why you have to just behave as if you were in a car. So stop behind the other cars at the red light. Indicate where you're going and stuff like that. So that's also what we're doing with the groups, and not as teachers, but it naturally comes when we're leading a group ride and everybody stops, they're not going.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I mean, there has to become like a better, just a balance between the two. I mean, like we kind of really like tapped into that quite a bit now, but just generally, like, how do you see the situation in Berlin at the moment? Are we a bicycle city?
Well, not if you see it from the city perspective, but from the people take what they want. So as the cycling community is growing, and there are more and more commuters, it's naturally forced to be a cycling city, kind of. But there's still a long way to go compared to other cities. We're quite good with the infrastructure and everything, so that's not the worst. The worst is just the relationship of motorists and cyclists, and the lack of acceptance that cyclists are traffic too. That they are like, it's not that cyclists are supposed to be on the pedestrian walk, but it's just that they are on the streets, and sure they are a bit slower than cars, but then you just have to wait, and you cannot pass them as close as they do often. So what if that would be a car that's going slow? You're not going to hit the traffic that's coming up.
No.
You're just waiting. So but that's not.
And no one's complaining then.
No, but that's not how motorists think, or most of them. I'm not going to tell everybody, but I think if we're on a good way, and motorists they have to accept it, because it's getting more and more. And they just to say this too, there are a lot of motorists I see, they really adapted, and they really get used to it, and they really ride fair and everything, and take care of cyclists. But still, there are some idiots not realizing that what they do is just kind of risking lives. It's not like when you're riding close to another car, you get a scratch. So if you ride really close to a cyclist, you might kill him. So that's the difference.
Well, you're totally right. I mean, I think though, I think it's really it's impressive how it changes in the different parts of the city, though. Like, because you can really feel like in those areas where you have a lot of cyclists, obviously, like people start. I have the feeling it's getting better and better. Like, I don't know if someone visits me from another city in Germany, like they always say, "Oh wow, it's really easy to ride here." But then, like, if you go to areas maybe where it's not so common, not so many cyclists, then you can really feel it.
I think there's really motorist-dedicated areas, like, for example, the Kudamm in Charlottenburg. That's where all the guys with the big cars are. They don't see why cyclists should be on the street. They don't see it. There's the bus lane. It's for buses, for taxis, and for cyclists. But they kind of claim it, so they don't see why cyclists are there. The same thing in kind of in Neukölln, for example. There's also a really strong motorist culture. But in other parts, like in Dahlem, where the university is, it's totally clear that there are tons of cyclists because of all the students. Or here in Mitte, there's tons of cyclists, and everybody's respecting them. So it depends where people are used to.
That's true. And what are I mean, like in the city, I mean, there are quite a few like future visions and plans, and I don't know, also brought forward by the cycling scene, of course. Like, what's the one that you would be most passionate about that they bring through?
Well, I
one
think
thing that really excites you.
I think it's pretty good to see what the Volksentscheid Fahrrad is doing and what they're doing. It's a referendum for cycling in generally, and they want to get a political voice for cycling and for the infrastructure and everything. Pretty good what they're doing, pretty good lobby work, and we'll see how far they come.
I heard about this cycling path building underneath the U1 and all these things.
It's called. That's a project. That would be a good project, because that especially is a route where a lot of commuters go, but also a lot of these non-adapted motorists go. Maybe we can call them like that. So, and having a committed cycling path, cycleway there would be really good, just to get people to work by bike safely. I think in general, the easiest thing would be just to ban all the, like we have here in Berlin.
All the cars.
No, not at all.
No.
You need them. But you can ban the blue cycling sign where that tells you that you have to use the cycling path. You should abandon that, because that's a law, and you actually have to stick to it. I never do, but you have to.
I didn't actually know about it.
Every cycling path with the blue sign is, you have to do it. You have to use the cycle path, but no matter what the cycle path looks like, and that's the problem, because sometimes when we're going by road bikes we can't use it because we're doing like 35 kilometers an hour, and it's like a small brick cycling path on a sidewalk, and you just can't use it. So it should be free to every cyclist to use the road or the cycling path. That's the first thing, because most of the cycling paths, even though they were it was a nice idea in the 70s or when they were built, they're just too dangerous. You're located between parking cars and the pedestrians, with dogs, with kids, with people just opening their doors, getting out of the car, loading up their car and everything, and roots coming out of the ground, and so it's just. And even though you're going there, people, motorists turning right can't see you because they all the time are parking cars and they just can't see you. So it's not even their fault. Not to blame the motorists. They just can't see you. So if you're right in front of them on the street, they will see you. They will not run you over. But if they don't see you, they run you over because they just didn't see you.
That's true.
It's pretty easy. It's the same thing like when you're riding in the dark without lights. So it's not the motorist's fault when they run you over because they can't see you.
Important point. There's
don't
so
make
many.
it too hard for them.
No, you're totally right. Right, so now I really like to know, like, what makes you feel really passionate and excited about being part of, like, I guess you could call it a movement, like, about maybe a chance of pushing things forward.
Actually, it's already that, like being part of it, and being someone who's contributing to it, as we do, for example, with our rides, with our events or whatever. So it's a good feeling to see it grow and to see it develop and everything.
I think especially like in the city, I always have the feeling that like there's such a spirit of like making things happen, and like because it's, as we said before, like by also building communities, bringing people together, it's kind of like you have the feeling that you can really kind of do something. That's something that really excites me about being in Berlin and like being on the bike and everything. Now turning a bit into those last years, like founding and running Standert Bicycles. What was your biggest learning or your biggest aha moment, if there was something like that?
Oh, we're learning every day. I think it's like with every young company. There's just kind of workflow learnings. There's things you learn to plan. There's things you didn't even know you have to plan. You learn to plan. Timings. It's a lot. I think it's the same in almost every up and coming company. So you grow. You have to deal with it. You got more responsibilities, of course. You have more numbers to produce or to whatever. It's growing, but you're growing with it, and you're actually learning fast. I think we're learning fast, and we're learning every day. And some mistakes you make twice or three times, but then at one point you don't. At one point you don't make them anymore.
Yeah, that's a good way of going to it. Like, okay, there's gonna be things that go wrong, and there's gonna be things that fail, but you just take them.
Yeah, sure.
And, like,
of course, there are things that can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Because then it's not good. But yeah, that's why we do it with so much passion and everything. So we kind of eliminate most of the high risks because we're not speculating.
Yeah, awesome. Right. Now I just have like to come towards the end slowly. I have like a few things that I ask kind of all my interview guests. First thing is, maybe you mentioned it already, but maybe there's something else. If you could change one thing in Berlin within the next 24 hours, what would it be?
Maybe put the inner city, so everything that's in the S-Bahn circle, put it to a 30 kilometers per hour limit.
Yeah.
So I don't think they need to go faster in the city than that. Yeah, maybe something like that. Or I would strictly limit every car sharing car to 50 kilometers per hour because that are the most reckless drivers.
Oh, really?
In total, yeah.
Ah, okay.
That's crazy. It's not their car, it's not their gasoline, so they don't care.
Oh shit, yeah.
So they just kind of get off the traffic lights with spinning wheels and everything.
Right, I never thought about that.
That should be like, kind of should be limited.
Yeah.
50 is enough to get anywhere.
Yeah, I like that. Great. And what question should I have asked you but didn't?
Oh, that's a hard one. You could have asked me if there's some kind of bike leasing, and yes, there is. So you can lease cars, of course, but at our place you can lease bikes also. So there's an arrangement with your boss, and then you can just lease it, and he keeps a percentage of your loan and gives you the bike, kind of. So you don't have to come here and buy a bike for about 1,200 euros.
Yeah.
So you just get the bike.
Yeah.
Your boss is paying it to the bank, and you get it for around 40 euros a month.
This is awesome. This is such a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so that it just encourages more people to
that's
cycle
what
to work, right?
that's what we're trying to do, and even encourages people to not think about every penny they want to spend on their bike because it's not as hurting when you put it into rates than you put it on the counter at once.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I think in lots of companies they have like a certain budget for kind of well-being and health and all that. I remember that.
Yeah, we have customers from really big companies that are really encouraging their employees to do it because it's really good for the employer's health.
Amazing.
Like fit people don't get sick as much as those always sitting in cars.
Definitely,
and
they
office.
work better, more
they're
productive.
more motivated.
Yeah.
Like for the company, it's pretty good. You don't have to raise their loans at once. You just can give them a bike as incentive, and everybody is happy.
Wow. I would have been super happy if my old employer would have done that. Totally. Right. And now to kind of wrap it all up, if there was one thing you could pass on to the Green Me Berlin community, to the listeners out there, just anything that comes to your mind straight away, be it like a call to action or whatever, what would it be?
Just kind of go out there and ride your bike. Don't let anybody take your space in traffic. You have to take it, nobody will give it to you, but you have to take it. Don't let motorists force you to the far right side. Just ride as comfortable as you feel, and pretty much enjoy it.
Awesome. Wow, like what an encouraging line to finish. Benedict, I can't say how much I appreciated chatting to you. Thanks so much for all these insights and exciting things you said. And like really, like you guys are such a big asset to the city. So please keep up the energy, keep bringing people together, keep building all these beautiful bikes that just make the streets of Berlin so much nicer. I'm sure you influence like the lives of so many people out there for the better. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
So people out there, embrace this, check out Standert Bicycles and meet this amazing crowd here now. It's always a good time for a bike, so make sure to pop by at Standert's store, even if it's just for a quick coffee and a round of looking at their bikes. They're super easygoing and always up for a chat. So hop on your two-wheelers or the metro if you have to and come over. As always, you can find all the details about Standert Bicycles below the interview, and of course, you can find them on our map. And if you're not in yet, sign up for the Green Me Berlin newsletter, and you'll not only get notified when the next inspiring interview is ready, you'll also get to download a best-of guide to some of my favorite places. Hint, hint, Standert is in there too. Thanks so much for listening. Hope you have a beautiful day, and remember to keep it green.